who's next? Yeah, who's next? Who'll ride a greyhound all night long? Welcome to the C.L.I.M.B. This is a show dedicated to helping singers, songwriters, and indie artists like you create leverage in the music business. This podcast exists because we want you to win. We want you to think outside the box. We want you to know exactly where the industry is headed so you can be ahead of the game rather than behind it. And that's why we named it The C.L.I.M.B. with our wonderful wordsmith and my co-host, Mr. Brent Baxter, who I'm about to introduce you to. Put this together, creating leverage in the music business, which is genius. Let me introduce you to Brent Baxter. He's an award-winning hit songwriter with cuts by Alan Jackson, Randy Travis, Lady Antebellum, Joe Nichols, and more. And he also helps songwriters turn pro by teaching the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting. And you can find Brent at songwritingpro.com. Once again, that's songwritingpro.com.
And I would like to introduce you to my co-host, Johnny Dwinell. Johnny owns Daredevil Production. It's an innovative artist development company. They help you find your sound, and they help you find your audience. Not only do they develop and improve your artistry, they also grow and monetize your fan base, creating cash flow.
Yeah!
Daredevil has worked with multi-platinum artists like Colin Ray, Tracy Lawrence, Ty Herndon, and Andy Griggs, just to name a few. You can find Johnny at daredevilproduction.com. That's production singular, no S. And we all know why there's no S, because there's only one, Johnny Dwinell.
How you doing, Brent?
I'm awesome. I'm a little loopy. I'm probably a little tired. You know, it's how we do this. It's late at night. Finally got the kids in bed and hop on down to the office and record a little podcast.
I've had a day, like a day. I'm not complaining. I'm blessed to be where I'm at. I love my job. I really do. I love this company, but today was a day. Certain curveballs that I don't like.
There you go. It's good
yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
It's okay.
You didn't have those problems a couple of years ago, right?
It's better than searching around a pile of garbage for 2-liter bottles to make sandals
shoes
out of.
Yeah.
Could be
Definitely beats that.
But hey, we have a couple fresh reviews on the podcast that we want to talk about. And so, Brent, you're going to handle the first one there. I'm
going to handle the first one. Okay, this says the title of this one is To the Limit, Then Beyond. It's a nice 5-star. Thank you for the 5-star review. And it's by Trepo, which I hope I'm pronouncing that right because I see on the blog and stuff, and I'm really hoping I'm pronouncing it right. So it says, neither Anthony Robbins nor Nike have anything on Johnny, Brent, and the C.L.I.M.B. This positive, uplifting podcast will not only lead a horse to water, but it will make that horse drink. It is good stuff for success. Just do it and drink it up. Thanks again, guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm not afraid to drink it up. I'll drink it up.
There you go. Anthony Robbins got nothing on me but about 2 feet. He's tall.
2 feet, some big choppers, and banana fingers, right?
And billions. Yes.
And billions of dollars. That's right.
Billions of dollars.
Bless his bones.
I know, but hey, that's quite the compliment. So
thank you, Trepo. Trepo. I think is it French? It's French.
He's a big no, it's Trepox.
Yeah, right. But 5 stars.
It sounds like something you need calamine lotion for. He got the old Trepox.
So the next one I'm going to read, and this is from Eric Kenji, and the title is "Break It Down, Brent, and Show Us What You Got." It's a 5-star review. It's too long for me to read everything, so basically what Eric is first of all, he's a hip hop producer, and he calls out Brent and says loves him and he calls you an OG. Says you're the real deal.
That's old and grumpy.
When it comes to songwriting, and he kind of threw out a unique challenge, which we're going to twist it up in a different way. But he was saying, I don't remember this, but I guess in one episode we had said we could write that song right now. Yeah,
we were talking about songwriting, putting the effort in. It's like, I can write a song.
Right.
I can write a song right now. Blah, 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 blah. And went on. Well, Eric was listening closely. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right. So, to answer some of your questions in this, Eric, if you go back and listen to a couple previous episodes, I know you just haven't had the chance to listen to them all yet, but you'll find out that Brent is, in fact, a lyricist. Brent can't sing a note, and he doesn't play an instrument, but he walks in and changes the world with his English wordsmithing skills. So
me do words good.
Yeah, that's
me
right.
do words good real.
So just because we wanted to give you some perspective on that, he asked about that in the review.
Basically, he called me out and said, "You say you can write a song right now. Why don't you write one on the podcast, live in real time?" There
we go. So because that just wouldn't work in a 20 to 30 minute podcast, I don't think it would translate very well. And he's a lyricist. We didn't think like that would really sort of be exciting. But we're going to take you up on this challenge, Eric, with a different twist, okay? You gave us a great idea. We're not afraid to face a challenge and climb that mountain. So here's what we're going to do. To anybody listening to the podcast out there, if you have a song title idea that you want to write and that you want to share, send that song. And this is just about the song titles. We're not going to get into the song because that's going to be a little... That's just, again, it can be too complicated and too much it just without a visual. I don't even think it'd be fun watching somebody do it.
Man, it's really not a spectator sport.
It's not a spectator sport, but send in the title, but send them to me. Send them to info@daredevilproduction.com. Again, production is singular. There's no S. info@daredevilproduction.com with all capital letters that says song title challenge. Song title challenge. Send in your song title, and then I'm going to pick a couple, and I'm going to shoot them to Brent on when we record our next podcast, and we're just going to just so you can sort of see how on a linguistic level how his wheels are spinning, and he'll start to just comment on them, break them down, put them, take them apart, and maybe put something back together again. And do it that way. So I think that might be interesting on the podcast.
I think it might be. So what I'm thinking is, okay, so this isn't a co-write. So this is one you're just throwing out, saying, hey, what would you do with this, lyric boy? Okay. And I'm going to take it and I'm going to try and put the commercial country spin on it because that's my wheelhouse. All right. So whatever kind of title, that's the filter I'm going to put it through because that's what I know best.
Well, what if, let me interrupt you for a second. So Eric, he's a hip hop producer. So obviously your wheelhouse is commercial country.
Right.
But also, but I mean, what if we got an R&B? What if we got a rock? What if we got a rap or a hip hop? I mean, I say we just send them in and let's see what you do.
Well, I say it's in the title, but that's what I'm going to be a hammer looking at everything as a country nail.
That's right.
On that because that's my best chance of explaining why. That's I can explain what the choices I'm making.
Okay.
So whatever kind of title you want to send in.
Yeah, I say
all it is words.
If you're in any other genre outside of country, send them in anyway. Let's just
and to see what happens because a title is just words. A title's not an idea. It's what you do with those words that matters. So I'm going to try and apply an idea to those words and go, okay, if I was writing this, for commercial country radio, what are my thoughts? How would I twist it? What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? How can we make this work? That sort of thing. And so it'd just be kind of in a real time, I better get plenty of sleep the night before, basically.
There you go. And that's not going to happen.
It's definitely not going to happen.
That's not going to freaking happen.
But, that's what happens in the writing room, though. Somebody throws something out. It's like, what do you think about it? Yeah, I like that. Okay, well, let's try to make it make sense.
Right, let's try to let that title write our song. What? Was I paying attention?
Yeah, exactly.
Who was paying attention? I get the gold star. That was me.
Yeah, you get gold star for you. So, Eric, challenge semi-accepted.
We've got to make it. We've got to make it compelling for.
Yeah. So anyway, send those in. Song title challenge to info@daredevilproduction.com, and then here in a few weeks, we'll let you have a few weeks to get those out there. And then our next round of, recording, we'll make an episode out of it.
And who knows, if people like it, I mean, maybe we'll just do it on a regular basis. That'd be kind of fun, actually. I remember, do you remember, do you remember the Mac Davis show back in the day?
I've seen clips and stuff, but I don't remember watching it.
So Mac Davis, great country songwriter. I mean, he wrote,
In the ghetto.
Yeah, in the ghetto, and also didn't he write the other Elvis big hit that was? Yes, John, be more specific with the big.
Yeah, the other Elvis big hit. Oh yeah, of the two.
No, the what was it? A little less talk, a little more action.
I think he was on that. Yeah,
I think he covered that too. And he, like when I was a little kid, my mom
Hard
loved
to Be Humble. He wrote that.
Oh, and I think did he write that on the show? Because I think he wrote that on the show.
Oh, really?
Or at least they made it. It might have been a TV thing, but I was a kid and I bought it. I bought it all, hook, line, and sinker. But yeah, oh Lord, it's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way.
Oh, hey, we got a new theme song for the podcast.
I can't wait to look in the mirror. I get better looking each day. To know me is to love me. I must be a hell of a man. Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble. Sing it with me. But I'm doing the best that I can.
See, I know the other version, which we sing at Razorback games, and we sing the same thing, except it must be a heck of a fan. Because Lord, it's hard to be humble. We're an Arkansas Razorbacks fan.
Oh, there you go.
So that was my exposure to that growing up.
The reason I brought that up was on that show, like the last 5 minutes of the show, he would just be up there with an acoustic guitar on the stage. It was a live audience. It was taped in front of a live audience. And people would shout out something, and he would have to write a song about it, like right there, and just come up with something like right on the spot. And I think, like, I could be totally wrong on this, but I want to believe from my childhood memory that song came from one of those challenges. And somebody would be like Batman and Robin, and he'll make something up, or somebody would be like garbage, and he'll make and he just comes up, he's like, okay, hold on a second, all right, I got it. And then he just rolls out like a verse and a chorus or something, and it was so cool, man. He's just the best. Like, I love it. But anyway, awesome. Let's get into this here. Let's get into this. We're going to talk about debt.
Yeehaw! Yes. So here's what's going on. So this is one of my episodes. I want to talk about 4 ways that debt can kill your music dreams. It's pick me up. So there we go. If anyone's left to hear me write a song later in a few episodes, if this doesn't run them off. But yeah, there's 4 ways that debt can kill your music dreams. And I just want to talk about this because, I've been doing some craft episodes lately and music business episodes, and this is really bigger than just music business, but this is the lens we look through. But, debt is a dream killer. So if you want to make the jump to seriously pursuing songwriting as a career, or if you're already a pro, I really highly encourage you to avoid debt like the plague. And if you're already settled with debt, I want to encourage you to pay that off as fast as you can. And so tonight I just want to talk about 4 ways that, it can kill your dream. It can make it more difficult to pursue your dream, all that. Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a good plan. Enlighten me. I got a lot to add to this, too. Former financial guy. Whew.
Oh, there you go.
Those hustles are unbelievable with the I know this. I am not a scholar of the Bible like you are, but I know there's only one time where Jesus showed violence, right?
Oh,
where
turning over the tables.
Yep, turn over the tables with the money changes.
The money change. Right? Yeah, in the temple. Yeah.
Yeah.
People were making big business out of something that should have been big business and taking advantage of people they shouldn't have been taken advantage of. So yeah, so money's a thing. Bible talks a lot about money. But anyway, it's not a Bible episode. It's
a money.
Although
episode.
You never know, maybe come up. But okay, so 4 ways debt can kill your music dreams. All right. So number 1, watch out. Hope these aren't you. 1, debt makes the jump more difficult. When I talk about the jump, I'm talking about the jump from like, I got a day job, I'm working in a cubicle, or I'm driving a tractor, I'm driving a bus, I'm whatever. I'm going to make the jump from that into songwriting. Mm-hmm. All right. So that's the jump. So the higher your bare minimum income is, like your floor that you got to reach, the less likely it is that you can take that, $12,000 to $18,000 a year staff writing deal, or that your spouse will let you. Okay.
Right. So
if some people, who are able to chase the songwriting full time, some people are able to do that because their family can live off, the spouse's income. Like one of you can work and the other one can go chase a dream. Mm-hmm. And that's cool. But a lot of people don't have that. But still, even in those cases, the more debt your family has, the less likely you can be that lucky spouse that can let the other one work and earn the pesos, and you go, write songs for a while, not bringing in much or any money. And so that's a big thing. It just makes the jump more difficult because you're like, oh, I got this, I got this bill coming in every month. I got this bill coming in. Our mortgage is this big and my car is this big. And so is the car payment, all this stuff. That's just more that you got that nut you got to cover every month. And the higher that number is, just the more difficult it makes it on you to make that jump.
Yeah.
So pretty simple, but
I've got some stuff to add to that right off the bat.
Yeah.
Right off the freaking bat.
All right.
You know what? Like, all of us are being programmed in a very intentional way to be consumers. Mm-hmm. That's what makes the economy go. And in a very real way. Like, there's certain things that have a hit to the economy here or there, whatever. But as soon as consumer confidence goes down and people start feeling like they can't spend money on whatever frivolous crap they're going to spend money on, that's the biggest fear, because that's the biggest, that's going to put a stop to the train, in a big, big way, and collapse the economy. So it more than you could possibly imagine. Like, I'm really well versed in this in my financial background. And one thing that I learned from losing everything in the meltdown was that none of that crap defines me.
Right.
Not my credit rating, not the car that I'm driving, not the the stuff that I have. I mean, it just didn't define me. Like, over the course of building this company to where it is now, and we still got a long way to go and a lot of work to do, but in the course of doing that, I have systematically sold all my gear. Some of my prized guitars. I had a 1968 Gibson Country Western that I wrote so many songs on. I didn't want to get rid of that thing, but I needed to pay some bills, man, and this was more important. Yeah. So I made a choice. I had a 1985 Gibson ES335, but it was a Sunburst, and there was only like 100 of them made. Oh wow! And it was like really like kind of a rare. It was a newer guitar, but it was rare because there's very few. I mean, it was. You just don't see that kind of Sunburst on an ES335. And one of my favorite guitars. I recorded a bunch of records with that, and I got rid of that too. You know why? Because this dream was more important. Yeah. And I came from when I was in the financial industry. Our company was grossing a lot of money every month, and I exercising a lesson that my dad taught me, like, hey, if you're spending the money, try to get the most bang for the buck. So we would put all the expenses that we could put on a credit card, and we would just pay the card off every month. But I got miles on that credit card, right? So I got tons of free trips and vacations for my ex-wife and I, just from cycling the money through that and paying it off. Right. But But so at any given, like seriously, at any given moment, I would have maybe $25,000 or $30,000 of expenses a month on a card, and coming from that to just nothing, right? Which is to build this thing. I learned to build the company on cash flow, and there's a way that you can do it, but you just have to separate that. You have to untie that knot that they put in your head about why you got to have a cool whip, you got to have a cool watch, you got to have a cool shirt, you got to have a cool, like, right. I've stripped it down so much, and I just found that, you know what, I get much more joy out of making a living doing this and building this up the right way rather than doing it on debt. So I think that's what I mean. You can drive that really nice car to your day job, or you can drive one of those cars that, they have the bumper sticker that says "Don't laugh, it's paid for." Yeah, exactly. Well, I would add another little bumper sticker under that. Don't laugh, it's paid for. And I'm on the way to a co-write. That's it. I like that. Let's do that, dude. That's a I'll put those. So bad right now. I know you're excited. That's what I'm making it. Well, there you go. I mean, I just think that we worry too much about what the Joneses think, and and we're taught to. It's intentional. There's a lot of people who pay a lot of money to make sure that you think like that, but you can be smarter than them. I hate depreciating assets. I bought one in my life. I bought one brand new car. I'll never do it again. Yeah. I think
Yeah, I've only bought one as well.
Yeah.
That was my hit truck.
There you go.
And I was like, I don't know. Yeah, but I did. But yeah, you got to watch out for that stuff, and remember that's not what defines you. Yeah, like you said, it's not the big important stuff, and also it's that instant gratification. Listen, if you got to have instant gratification, you're in the wrong business to begin with. Yeah. All right. So if you're not ready to suck it up, eat dirt for a while before you start seeing return on it, then if you got to have the nice shiny things, it
keeps you on the hamster wheel. It keeps you at the day job that you want to get out of, so that you can do something that you really love, but you don't feel like you can get out of it because you got to make a payment on that thing.
That gilded cage, right? It's the golden handcuffs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing that worried me about. This is a little different, but about when I was working at Alltel, a telecommunications company in Little Rock, before I moved to Nashville.
Is that the Khaki Palace?
It is the Khaki Ant Farm. Yes, Khaki Palace. So the Cubicle Ant Farm. I was not trying to move up there because I always wanted to move to Nashville, and I was worried. It's like, I'll start moving up and start making more money and stuff. It's going to make it harder to quit everything and leave. And the opposite is true too. If I had a lot of debt, which I didn't, it would have made it that much harder to leave too. He's like, I got to cover this much of this credit card bill. Just servicing the debt on that is X amount of dollars, and all this other stuff. I just look at what I got to make right off the bat, and so I got to have a $30,000 a year draw versus a $12,000. And publishers are going, you don't have any track record, you can't pull that sort of thing. So that's the first one. It makes the jump more difficult. And we probably can't spend as long as the other ones because we're already running. But the number 2 way that debt can kill your music dream is debt limits how much you can invest in your dream. Okay, so you got like $700 in car payments a month. You got $150 in student loans. You got $1,000 per month on credit cards, and that could keep you from getting that demo recorded or making that trip to Nashville. Yep. How fast can you save up money for moving to Nashville if you have those kind of bills? Yeah. And so that, it's not a whip, it's a chain.
That's right. and I had a couple people out this past month. I'll try to make this quick, but they were recording demos with me for the first time, and I kind of think like they didn't have any demos before that, but just to see the look on their face after that first demo is done. She did 2 songs with me, and just like, I'm like, you got a calling card now. Now you can hand that to any co-writer, and they're going to know that you're serious, that you're serious enough to invest in yourself, and you've got something going on because it's solid. I mean, that's so important. Those song demos are really that's your business card, isn't it? Like, here's what I do, and not only that, but here's how much I believe in myself, right?
And I can just imagine the joy that was on her face first time.
Oh, yeah.
Hearing through like her song come to life. I mean, I remember that for me. The first time hearing like kind of more full production on something, I was just amazed.
Yeah.
I was so jazzed.
As somebody who does it on a regular basis and has done it for years on a regular basis, it never gets old. Right. I mean, listening to Brent Mason and Bobby Terry and Buddy Hyatt do their thing in the studio, and we take this work tape, and I'm like, okay, well, I want to go this direction. They start going that direction. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool too. Let's go there,
Yeah.
But it still blows my mind. Like, it does not get old. So
right.
Yeah.
And if you want that joy of making demos, you got to have some funds to do it.
That's right.
And you have less funds available if it's all tied up in stuff, in your big screen, in your car, in your whatever, your toys, your drone that you can fly your kid around in, and your dog. It's that stuff. You only got so much. You can always make more, but it takes you longer to build up that demo budget, or for your spouse to let you, because you already blew it on a trip or something. I don't know. So that's number 2. So number 1, debt makes the jump more difficult. Number 2, debt limits how much you have to invest in your dream, how much is available. Oh, I wrote the song. My co-writer loves it, and they want to demo it. I don't have the funds. Sometimes you just don't have the funds. But if you don't have the funds because you blew it on other stuff, it's your own fault. Okay? And
it's fixable.
It's fixable. You just got to change your habits.
Yeah.
All right. So number 3, debt brings stress. Okay? So financial stress steals your energy and your focus. All right, it steals your creativity. So how much can you focus on achieving your goals if you're not sure how to juggle your bills? So financial stress is the number 1 cause given for divorce, and debt is a major cause of financial stress. So, I mean, just beyond songwriting, you want to do what's right for your family. And so, the first two are just more financial. Like, I don't have the money to quit my job to go pursue songwriting, or I don't have the money to go invest in a demo or a trip to Nashville or coaching sessions or whatever. This one is just, I don't have mental bandwidth to even think about that stuff because my wife is breathing down my neck. I got people calling me, want to pay bills and all this other stuff. How much room does that leave in your brain for deep songwriting or creating music or whatever?
Yeah.
So
wolves are at the door.
Exactly. It's hard to stop and smell the roses and write new roses when the wolves are howling at your door, right?
Yeah.
So number 4, debt makes it harder to survive the valleys. Okay, so this is assuming you made the jump, you've invested in your dream, you get the publishing deal, or maybe you don't have the publishing deal, but you're able to live off one income or a part-time, and you're writing, you're doing it, right? This goes back to your bare minimum income. If you're blessed to get a deal or whatever, the odds are fairly good that, even if you get a staff writing deal, you're probably going to get dropped at some point. No offense. Okay. Or even if you don't have a deal, but, maybe you get a cut somewhere, there's a financial up and then a downslide, right? Mm-hmm. There's going to be a valley to that. So the more bills you have every month, the less time you have to get another publishing deal before you have to get a real job, or another cut before you got to go wait tables. And then that takes time away from your creativity and your art. So, a big part of going pro is staying pro. And by giving yourself all the time you can in which to achieve success. All right. So it's also about putting yourself in position to ride out the peaks and the valleys, because we're not guaranteed peaks, but we're pretty much guaranteed valleys in the music business. Yeah. So debt
in any business,
in those areas. Yeah, exactly. So debt limits you in those areas. So you want to do yourself, your family, and your dream a favor, and you want to kill the dream killer before it kills your dream. And so you want to get rid of that debt as you can. But, I've had deals, I've lost deals, been in between deals. And I had a deal that took me, like a year to negotiate. It was seriously like a year from the time they gave me the deal memo, which is like a short, form one. Here are the bullet points of what we want to offer you. There was like there were just a lot of cooks in the kitchen. And there was then you almost done. And then we hit Christmas. Oh, and then everything shuts down for a while. Yeah. And then we hit, Thanksgiving before that. And this deal took seriously or it might have been 9 months. But anyway, it's ridiculous how long it took. That whole time, I'm not getting a draw.
Yeah.
I'm living off Monday morning church during some of that time and some other stuff.
Sure.
And, if I didn't have that put back, and we didn't have debt, we had a house payment. That was it. We didn't have any other debt because I'd already paid off the truck, paid off student loan, off-boarded all that stuff, so our bills weren't what they could have been. Mm-hmm. Gave me more rope during that time to hang in there, finish up negotiating that deal, start getting a draw again. And, so I was able to keep on writing during that time. Mm-hmm. So if I didn't have that money put back, if I had bigger bills, shorter leash.
So on that note, to add to what you said, just from a business perspective, I've had, a mortgage business. I've had a mortgage lead business. I've had a few other business, like a sales business in the electronics industry. I've had a number of different businesses, and the band, when I toured, it was a business. Man, your number one goal has to be to bank, just for the purposes of savings, bank at least 6 months of all your overhead. Mm-hmm. And it took me a while to build that up with Daredevil, but that was a goal. That was the $20 bill on the wall, right? That's where I wanted to make that happen. But as soon as I did that, guess what? I freaking used it. A couple things went late with a couple clients, and they came back and they got back on track and everything like that. But things happen. It's guaranteed. Yeah. This is not a possibility. It is not a question of if. It's going to be a question of when. So the sooner as you start thinking about this like a business, your life, and run it a little bit more like a business, and have that money there ready to to go there. You're going to use it. You're going to dip into it. That's what it's there for. Mm-hmm. But and it's going to be a function of paying the bills. Not because you need some vacation or because you want to get this cool guitar or whatever. It's going to be like, holy crap! Like these 3 planets didn't align at the time that I needed them to align, and this thing came due, and I got to pay this, and so you pay it. And then you replenish it when it comes back. But when you function from that, your life gets better. And that stress, it takes a component of that stress away. But you have to. But it has to be a given. It has to be a mathematical given. Like this has to happen. And if you get below that 6 months, you're freaking out. Like, okay, we got to build this back up. We got to build this back up. And you go out to dinner less, and you go out to a few less movies, and you don't go out drinking as much, and you pass on that new guitar, and you do everything you can just to rebuild that before you start to jump up on it,
Yep, because there will be valleys.
Yeah.
And you want to make it out the other side, and we want you to make it out the other side, and then you can keep chasing your dreams. Because getting your dream crushed because of money, that just sucks.
Yeah, especially when they're working your brain like they do. You know what I mean? I mean, it's preventable. You just got to think for yourself, man.
Yep. So,
you really do. Well, that's not all. We got Brother Brent.
Yes, I got a little something else. If you want to write like a pro songwriter and succeed like a pro songwriter and stay in the game like a pro songwriter, you need to think like a pro songwriter. And that is actually the name of my free ebook. Free, as in I'm giving it away. It's called Think Like a Pro Songwriter, and you can find it at giftfrombrent.com, and that's giftfrombrent.com. Just go there, give me your email address, we'll zip it right off to you, and it's like I said, it's a free ebook, gives you an insight into some of the mindsets of pro songwriters and how we think about things, stuff kind of like what we talked about tonight. So check it out, giftfrombrent.com.
There you go. You can't lose. Once again, this podcast exists because we want you to win. We want you to think about all the things that you need to put into place to make this happen. And we're trying to get you firing on all pistons, okay? Because you got a lot of talent, and there's a few other things that you got to get a hold of, get your head around to really take the next step up. So with that, we will say thank you once again for listening. If you like what you heard, please leave a rating and review. As you know from the beginning of this episode, we'll be happy to read it over the air and share it with everybody. We love giving shout outs. Number 2, if you haven't joined Songwriting Pro Group on Facebook or the C.L.I.M.B, is it the C.L.I.M.B group?
The C.L.I.M.B community.
The C.L.I.M.B community on Facebook. Then do so. Just their invitation, but just say, hey, I heard about it on the podcast. We'll let you right in. And hey, guys, keep working out there. It's the best time to be a songwriter and the best time to be an artist. Doesn't feel like it right now, but it's all happening, I promise you. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.